What's up, guys? We are Tottenham TV here. Obviously, still gutted, absolutely gutted from last night. Still a bit depressed, but we're doing a live stream here talking about England's performance at the World Cup, how they fared, how we thought they've done, and especially the Spurs boys as well. And we'll go through how we thought we'll rate the Spurs players out of 10, and we'll talk about maybe our player of the tournament and our moment of the tournament as well. But let's start with yesterday.
Yeah.
All the performance last night. Obviously, we ended up losing 2-1 after extra time to Croatia. Yeah, I'm sure you know that by now. If you don't, I don't know where you've been.
I thought kind of first half, we were really up for it. We gave a really good account of ourselves. We could have been 2 up, maybe even 3 up. Harry Kane missing that chance. He was actually onside. He got called for offside, but if he puts that away, they go back to VAR and it's a goal.
I think it's, he's getting a lot of criticism today for not squaring it to Sterling.
Yeah, you can see that, but Harry Kane usually finishes those chances. So
when you're in your position of Harry Kane's quality in that position, you got to back him. You have to back him. But any other striker pretty much would have gone for it in that situation, except for maybe someone like Firmino. So,
but hindsight's a wonderful thing. If he puts that away, no one's talking about anything.
No, I think the real disappointing thing of that was when he hit the post, when he went on, the keeper really should be putting that away. I think that was for someone of Harry Kane's quality, such a good chance. And it changes the game completely, obviously, if we go 2-0 up, get that second goal, that all-important second goal. Unfortunately, we didn't get that, and then we go into half-time only 1-0 up.
And then you could see as soon as they came out for the second half, Croatia were on top for literally for the next 45 minutes and for pretty much half an hour after that as well.
I would say I agree with that. I think I would say more from like the hour mark onwards. I think from after the first 15 minutes, it was a bit even. I think it was a tight game. I thought we coped with them pretty well, but then we started to really struggle and they started to get chances.
It was the midfield, like Modric and Rakitic were just controlling that midfield, and we couldn't get a foot in there. Dele Alli, Jordan Henderson, and Lingard.
They were being danced around. I think the problem was, I think we exude so much energy in that first 45 minutes. We kind of didn't save enough for the second half. Maybe that was part of the problem, and we did run out of energy a bit. And they started to play football around.
Played a part.
Yeah, for sure. I think that lack of game management was definitely a part of it. Maybe. At some point, you either take off one of Dele Alli or Lingard, and either bring on Loftus-Cheek or maybe bring on Eric Dyer to shore things up. One of those two, bring some more energy to the centre, because they were just Rakitic and Modric and Brozovic as well. Can't count him out. Were just dancing around us, and we had nothing to do. And they were getting a lot of joy at right wing back as well. Vasalko was running riot down that right wing, and it changed the game. But it took us till 90th minute to take off Ashley Young.
Yeah, you called for that quite early on as well. That Ashley Young substitution. The one that I was calling out for was Rashford for Sterling. He made that too late as well, to be honest. He should have brought that on maybe 10, 20 minutes before he did.
Well, when was that? He made that 70th minute or something?
Yeah, maybe even a bit later.
80th minute, maybe. Yeah, I can see that. Sterling was a bit ineffective. I thought that
I think Sterling's had a poor tournament, to be honest.
There are two ways of looking at it for Raheem Sterling, because he hasn't... In terms of how he's played for Man City, he got 18 Premier League goals. He's a player who's not shy of taking shots or finishing. But there's another side to it in terms of he makes those runs, he creates the space, he makes opportunities, and he has been doing that well.
The problem is though, when you got defences putting all these men on Harry Kane, the space opens up for everyone else. And when Sterling isn't really delivering, then it doesn't really work, because Sterling's the one that the space is being created for.
Yeah, it's a fair point, and I think there's one thing for sure, is that his shooting's been off. He just hasn't been on it today, or he hasn't had that confidence to take shots on. I don't know
after scoring so many goals for Man City this season, you thought that he was going to get a few goals this tournament.
You think he'll be coming to the tournament absolutely firing, absolutely full of confidence. It just hasn't worked out like that for Sterling. I think in terms of the role he's had for the team, I don't think he's had a terrible tournament, but I think in terms of what I expect from a player of Raheem Sterling's quality, I do think he's had a poor tournament.
His end product has been awful.
It's been woeful. I don't care what anyone says. Whenever he's had the chance, he's either scuffed the shot or it's been straight at the keeper, and it's been poor. And for a player of Sterling, who got, again, 18 Premier League goals last season, we know he can shoot. We know this is a player who should have good final product, at least some occasion. he completely failed in that
I
department.
love that. Inject Modric into my veins. Literally, player of the tournament for me by far. I think he's been sensational this tournament.
Fantastic,
at his age as well. Wow, what a player that guy is.
I knew he still had him at Spurs.
Yeah.
He controlled things yesterday from
second half onwards.
Yeah, he really started to dictate the play, and it was hard to control him. That's where a bit of game management probably would have come in. Maybe bring on someone like Eric Dyer, shore things up. Maybe have him with Jordan Henderson instead of just Dyer by himself. But unfortunately, we just stuck with our game plan, and it just wasn't enough to get us through.
Let's talk about the kind of overall performances of the England players. I think we should go through all the starting 11 and give them a rating out of 10.
The whole starting 11?
Yeah. So let's start with Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, I'll give him a 9.
I'll give him a 9 as well. I thought he's been absolutely sensational. A lot of people didn't think he should have been starting. It was kind of a toss-up between all three keepers, to be honest. Pope's had a good season. Pickford and Butland hadn't had really great seasons. But you got to give it to Southgate for sticking with Pickford because he was sensational.
Yeah, he put on some wonderful saves, some really great moments of this World Cup. One thing I would say is against Croatia in that last game, there were a few flaws I felt that started creeping up. There were a few moments where he was a bit dodgy and flapping at a few things. But apart from that, I thought against Colombia was absolutely amazing. That save in the last minute and obviously the penalty shootout. Against Sweden, I thought it was phenomenal. 3 absolutely fantastic saves that kept our 2-goal advantage. You know, for a player who actually, as a goalkeeper overall, isn't even that experienced, really. Yeah. He's had 1 full season at Sunderland when they got relegated, and 1 full season at Everton.
Which is actually mad when you think about the price tag he went for.
Yeah,
as well.
30 million. He's proved what a good shot stopper he is, and whether this is a springboard for him to up his game at Everton or maybe get a move, I'm not so sure yet. I think he still needs to prove himself a bit, but I think he's had an absolutely fantastic tournament, and it's a great building.
Would you take him as a long-term Lloris replacement?
Not just yet. Not just yet. I'm not convinced.
Lloris has a brilliant tournament.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. I'm not convinced that he's a player who can organise the defence that well just yet, and maybe and things like coming for crosses, he's still a bit suspect. But I think he's still young. He's still 24, so he's got a lot of time.
He's got a long way to
improve. Exactly. So I think it's a great building block for Jordan Pickford, and I think he has a bright future ahead of him.
Let's go to the left back, Ashley Young.
I'll give him a 7. 7. Yeah, I think he's had a pretty good tournament. I think his set pieces have been pretty good.
I thought he was poor yesterday, though.
He got done a bit by Masaka. I think his age probably showed a bit near the end of the tournament. But I think, all in all, I think he had a pretty decent tour. It wasn't phenomenal, but I think he's pretty decent. And I think he defended pretty well there, possibly. I think he suits that role better, Danny Rose. But, you know, fair play to Ashley Young. He's deserved this place. So he did a decent job. So I'll give him a 7.
With Ashley Young, I don't think he's been too good. He hasn't been too bad. Kind of like average.
Yeah,
I'll give him a kind of somewhere between a 6 and a 7. I think 7's a bit too high and 6 is a bit too low for him. So I'll give him a 6.5. Okay. But let's move on to Harry Maguire.
Oh, I'll give him a 9.
I completely wrote Harry Maguire off before this tournament. I really didn't rate him. I think his build is all wrong, but he's proved me completely wrong this tournament. He's been absolutely sensational, and I agree with you, 9. Out of the 3 centre-backs, I think he's been the best out of the 3.
I think his biggest threat, obviously, has been from set pieces. Yeah. What an absolute beast that man is.
Man mountain.
Literally, he wins every single header in the box. And what a great asset that is to have, when especially a team like England who focus so much on set pieces. You saw it, we aim for Maguire every time. And when we had people like Trippier and Young pinging those balls into him, like accurate crosses, he was winning it so often and causing absolute havoc in the penalty area. And you got to give him so much credit for that. And as you said, he came to that tournament with a few question marks surrounding him. You know, he's played for Leicester. He had a good season for Leicester. I wouldn't say he was outstanding for Leicester. He was pretty good, though. I think he probably got in the team more by default than actually playing amazingly. But you got to give in to him. This tournament, he's been fantastic. And it's not just his defending as well. He's been able to play out from the back. He's a baller. He can step out, play those passes in between the lines. And you got to give him credit for that. So I'm going to give him a 9.
John Stones.
You know, I was gonna give him like an 8 up until yesterday, where I think he really fell asleep, especially that second goal. So I'm gonna give him a 7. I think overall he's had a pretty good tournament, but you know, the crucial moment he did I really feel he let us down. I feel he fell asleep for that second goal, and that, you know, if he doesn't fall asleep at that moment, either goes to penalties, we don't know what can happen. But he's had a good tournament. A good tournament, obviously, off on the back
two
of
goals.
Yeah, 2 against Panama. He's also been part of that set piece threat that we've had. I think he's been able to play out the back pretty efficiently. He's been part of the England setup, which we've based our play around playing out the back, and he's been a big part of that. So I'll give him a 7 for the tournament, I think.
Yeah, like I was really, really upset with him yesterday because I really thought that goal could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Really, like such an important moment in our whole tournament kind of hinged on that moment, and he was the one that did the mistake. But apart from that, yeah, like you said, I think he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
So
on the back of a poor season, you'd have to say with City.
Yeah.
And
but I thought he grew into the season.
Well, he kind of didn't. No, I think it was the opposite. I think
he started well.
Yeah, he started well and then fell away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe you're right.
But I think he's a player who's got a good
I like
future.
John Stones as a player.
Got a good future.
I like John Stones.
He's still, again, people forget he's like 23. So, you know, I know he's been around for a while, but he only broke into the Everton team really young, and he went for 50 million like a couple of seasons ago for City at 21. So he's still a very young.
He's going to be in the England team for a long time.
Yes, he's going to be our centre back for a very long time. So I'm not worried about him, but I'm just so annoyed that he fell asleep in that 1 second, and it cost us big time.
Okay, so Kyle Walker, who I thought was our man of the match yesterday.
Kyle Walker, I'll give him an 8. I think he had a very good tournament in a position which you'd probably say is pretty unfamiliar to him. I do think I also put fault to him for the first goal yesterday. I think that was his fault, which is a big shame. I think he waited for the ball instead of going to attack it, and that cost him because the player was able to nick in front of him by him waiting. If he got a shout or if he looked behind him, he would have known the player was coming and he could have gone to attack the ball, but he didn't know. Again, another losing concentration for 1 second, unfortunately, cost us. But overall, I think he's been pretty good this tournament. I think he's been mopping up everything from the back whenever there's been any sort of loose balls or any sort of one-on-ones. I think he's been pretty phenomenal at that. He did also give away a penalty against Tunisia, which was a bit stupid. But I didn't
say it wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, I didn't give him too much criticism. In fact, I didn't think it was a penalty. But other than that, maybe it's a position that he might be used more at club level if Guardiola wants to go through at the back. But I do feel like maybe he loses a bit of his game if he's not able to attack down that right wing. But obviously, given the next play will rate, he wasn't able to.
Because Kyle Walker was backing up him all the time. I went back. Yeah, literally, I thought it was so good because of Kyle Walker. Obviously,
I agree with you. I think Trippier was able to attack so much because Kyle Walker was there mopping up everything in the back, and he didn't have to worry too much about tracking back as much and getting. I'll give credit to Walker for that. I think he definitely made Trippier look better. I'm not sure better than he is, but he definitely strengths. Walker being there.
I'm going to give him between a 7 and 8. Walker. So move on to Kieran Trippier. Of every game this guy put in, literally he was sensational. Yep. Most chances created in the whole tournament, and I got kind of because at the end of the last season I was saying we need a new right back. I don't think
he was being absolutely sensational. Word I can say about Kieran Trippier this tournament, stepping up in the penalty shootout, a big moment. Stepping up, a massive moment.
Oh, what a free kick!
The corners he's been putting in, creating unbelievable chances. Those first time crosses, he's been time after time, and he crosser of the ball. He has shown what an amazing, how creative he can be, and he's just been absolutely phenomenal. He's up and down the right wing all tournament, non-king chances. Yeah, literally, very true, mainly up it. But you can't fault him in any way, shape, or form. I think he's been England's best player, phenomenal,
and no one could have called that. No one could have called that.
But you got to give credit in that sense to Gareth Southgate, because the easy option would have been to play Kyle Walker at right wing back and put in something like Cahill or Phil Jones or something like that. But he trusted that. He wanted Trippier, he wanted his creativity, he wanted his delivery in that side, and it worked absolute wonders. And he was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm so proud of him because there are a lot of question marks going into the tournament. Most people wouldn't have even played him.
Yeah.
And he's just shown everyone, shown everyone up, everyone who thought he wasn't good enough, everyone who thought.
I bet you a lot of people around the world didn't even know who Kieran Trippier was.
Exactly. Trapu.
But he's been branded in the media as the best right back in the world now.
He's been, in terms of his delivery, I think he is.
And
name me a right back who's got a better cross than Kieran Trippier.
They're saying he's the best right back in the world. We sold Kyle Walker for 50 million. How much? How much is Kieran?
100 million. 100 million for Kieran Trippier. Any takers? We'll see. But
they were talking in the press before this game about Man United wanting Trippier now and him going to go for 50 million. But now they're going to have to give Pogba, they're going to have to give Martial and 50 million.
Yeah, exactly. Trippier, what a tournament, what a man. And I'm sure that's going to give him a lot of confidence going into the new season for Spurs. Hopefully, I do think that the three gives the best out of Trippier when he doesn't have to do as much tracking back when he does in the 4. So I think that helped him a lot. But you can't fault him. You can't.
All right, move on to Jordan Henderson.
Jordan Henderson, I'm going to give an 8. I think he had a really good tournament. Actually, you know what? Yesterday, I think he really put in a poor performance. I really believe that.
That's what I was about to say.
I think he's panicked in possession. I think he was lumping play
he
forward.
Got completely overrun.
He did, and not only that, it's not just him being overrun. That was one part of it. That's more due to a lack of help than him personally. I would say that yesterday, when he was in possession of the ball, he really panicked. He lacked composure, wasn't finding his man. It was just kind of lumping it, hoping for runners when he wasn't really looking up. And it was a big shame. Because I think he's had a really good tournament. I think he's actually led things really well. I think he justified his selection over Eric Dyer for most of the tournament.
I agree with that.
I think he showed that he's got more of a passing ability. He's got more composure on the ball except yesterday against Croatia. And you got to give him credit.
It seemed like he was nervous yesterday. It looked like the nerves got the better of him.
He was making poor decisions on the ball time after time. It wasn't one time. And it's a real shame because it's undermined how good he was this whole tournament. Maybe you could argue against opposition like Modric and Rakitic, which is a fair argument.
To be honest, I think his best performance was the first game
against Tunisia.
Yeah,
probably.
And they've gradually got a bit worse every game, to be honest.
Like if you think about the centre mids we faced, like if you think like Colombia have Barrios and Carlos Sanchez, Sweden have they've got that guy from Dortmund, Elkeden, and like Seb Larsson and people like that. He hasn't come up against people like Modric and Rakitic yet, so he did really get found out once he came up against real quality. You would have to say, but
would you have played Dyer against
yesterday?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have played him before the game because I think Henderson justified his.
Do you bring him on though when you see Henderson's struggling?
Yeah, that's what I would have done. I would even to partner Henderson, not necessarily to replace him. Not necessarily to replace him, but even I would have brought on Dyer a lot earlier than
for who though? For Ali?
One of Ali or Lingard. I think they'll both as bad.
Well, that brings us on to Dele Alli. The enigma that is Dele Alli.
Yeah.
Poor tournament, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 5.
5.
He scored a goal against Sweden. Fair play to him. But we did
got the assist for the free kick. Won that free kick.
Yeah, he won
yesterday.
the free kick. I don't think we saw the best in this tournament, which we've been saying most of last season.
Do you think he was targeted?
No, I don't think so. I think he had a lot of the time. He had a lot of space. He had a lot of time to do things, and I failed to get.
What was his issue?
It's hard to say. I think kind of we know with Dele Alli as Spurs fans during games he could not have the best game, but he always pops out with a goal and assist and tries something amazing. But he wasn't even. I didn't even see him trying too many things this tournament. He was kind of just doing the simple things wrong. I felt. And we didn't make the most of his late run to the box, and I felt like he just didn't. We didn't get the best out of him at all. I think him and Lingard. I think they linked up okay, but it wasn't a great partnership. I expect better from him. I expect him to get at least 2 or 3 goals this tournament, and I expect with a lot of attention on Sterling and Kane.
And even if he's not getting the goals, at least putting some positive input into the play, which he didn't do.
No, I was disappointed in him. I was disappointed in this tournament. I felt like he was anonymous a lot of the time. And it's fine if you're going to pop up with a goal and assist, which he does a lot for Spurs, but he didn't. Only cut the 1 goal the whole tournament. No, it was an important goal to take, but unfortunately,
and
it
says a lot when we basically hardly scored a goal from open play this tournament.
He was one of our only ones.
But
yeah, true.
But what I'm saying is,
that's
what I'm saying is, like him, Lingard, and Sterling all had a big part to play.
And you'd think his partnership with Harry Kane, you know, at club level they work wonders together. You would hope that they could take that into this international stage. And unfortunately, just this tournament, we didn't see the best out of Dele, and he just didn't perform his best. Yeah,
Craig Bowler says overall tournament he hasn't had a good season, and he didn't fit into the system. To be fair. I can't disagree with that.
I think part of the problem was that he got injured in the first game of the tournament, and whether we rushed him back or what, or we didn't, I'm not so sure.
Either way, Loftus-Cheek looked head and shoulders above Ali this tournament.
He did a lot more in the short time he had, you would say, except for obviously Ali scored. I'm not sure. I'm not necessarily sure it's true that he didn't fit the system. I think the system could have fit him well because he's played in that three in the midfield there, so.
That performance against Liverpool springs to mind.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think that's.
And I was calling for him to play in that position.
Yeah,
as well before the tournament.
That's where the position he did play. And to be fair to him, I think from a defensive point of view, I don't think he was terrible. I don't think, except for obviously yesterday where we got overrun in the second half. I think most of the time we've been pretty close. Haven't had too many problems.
No, I don't think the midfield was good enough.
I agree from a defensive point of view.
Yeah.
So I think I think he did all right there. So it's not all bad, but I think creatively just wasn't there this tournament.
Jesse Lingard.
Yeah. Jesse, I think he did better than Ali. I think there was a lot of talk before the tournament, not before the tournament, but at the end of the season for United fans, Spurs fans, who's better, Dele or Lingard. And I wouldn't say on this evidence Lingard's better, but for sure, I would agree that Lingard did have a better tournament. I'll give him a 7.
What a goal!
And what a goal against Panama! Really lovely goal. But I would say yesterday he had that chance. He had a really good chance for a player of Lingard's quality, right on the edge of the box, a lot of time, and he really skewed it wide quite badly at a crucial time. But I think Lingard, he showed a bit more creatively than Dele. I think he was a bit brighter, a bit more of a spark than Dele was.
He had a lot more about him, Jesse Lingard. He was trying to make things happen the whole time. And I don't mind that when it doesn't come off. At least he's trying to make things happen. It's just, I don't know.
He just seems subdued.
Yeah. Knackered.
Maybe. I don't know about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm fear maybe because I think he started the game against Tunisia really, really well. And then he got injured.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe he just had a bad tournament. I'm not sure, but I'm going back to Lingard.
What you gave him?
I gave him 7. I think he had a pretty good tournament.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Maybe he could have creatively. I think all of our midfield players could have. I think he's also as guilty as them. Not as guilty, but he's also guilty. He's a big part of why we need to open play. But you got to give him credit in terms of he was in those positions and he was trying things. And I think he showed a bit more about him. So I was pretty happy with how Lingard performed.
Raheem Sterling.
I'm going to give him a 6. Yeah, I'm going to give him a 6. It could have easily been a 5.
I'm giving him a 5.
It could have been a 5, but I do think I am of the belief that he did do a good job for the team, and I think the team worked better with him in it than with him without it because of him creating space for other players. So I do believe.
Yeah, I believe Rashford could have done just as well.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think Rashford. Maybe. You could argue that Rashford could have done
every time Rashford came on, he looked electric.
I don't know about that.
I thought Rashford looked really good.
I don't agree with that.
Do you not?
No.
Do you not?
I don't think he did. What did he do? I don't remember a shot he had.
No, but he was always trying to make things happen. He was making runs in the box.
So was Sterling. I don't agree that Rashford looked any better than Sterling.
I thought Rashford looked a lot better than Sterling.
Anyway,
well, let's see what you put in the comments. Who do you think looked better, Rashford or Sterling? Let us know what you think.
Whatever, this isn't about Rashford, it's about Sterling.
Yeah.
I do believe that he did a good job for the team in that sense. However, as we said before, his finishing was woeful. His end product was really, really woeful. Not even just shooting. I do think his passing in general was pretty bad as well in terms of when he's getting in and around the box, trying to create chances. He was constantly picking the wrong options or picking out players who are offside. And I think it really, for a player of how good Sterling's been for Man City this season. We really thought this is a player who has stepped up a level now. He's now taken that next step of being a very good player, world-class player. And he didn't show it for England. His shooting was, whoa, I've never seen such bad finishing. And
it was something out of Vincent Janssen's book, finishing.
It was kind of like Sterling from like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And it was really big shame because he, along with Harry Kane, had the opportunity to be one of the stars of the tournament for England. And it just didn't happen for Sterling. He's of that quality. I think he's good enough to be one of the stars for England. And his just finishing was just not good enough, unfortunately. I don't care what anyone says, we've done the job for the team. I know he did. It just did. I expect better. I expect more from a player of Raheem Sterling's quality. And he didn't show it.
I'm going to say it again. I'm going to stress it. Like, the reason why we didn't create anything from open play was all down to those three players. It was down to Lingard, it was down to Sterling, and it was down to Dele Alli. And if those three guys were on point, we could have gone all the way to the final. There's a reason why we didn't score or create much from open play.
We scored a couple, yeah, not much. But we relied heavily on set pieces, which is true. Yeah, I agree. I think Sterling's in that camp in terms of why we didn't create enough from open play. I don't disagree with that, but I do think that that the small things he did do for the team, I think he did do well. I think he did break the lines a number of times. He did make runs, drawing players away from players like Kane and Ali and Lingard, who got a couple of goals this tournament. I think he did a decent job in that sense, but I expect more from him. I do, because he's that good. I expect more from him.
All right.
And then the last, yeah.
We move on to the man, Harry Kane.
I'm going to give him a 9. I'm going to give him a 9. In terms of goal quality, maybe not how good his goals were, but he's golden boot at the moment, top goal scorer at the World Cup, unless Mbappe or Griezmann get a hat-trick in the final, which I doubt it. He stepped up in the big moments. Those penalties against Panama right in the corner, penalty in the shootout right in the corner, penalty against Colombia, putting them away. These are pressure moments. Ronaldo and Messi both missed penalties. Kane didn't. Exactly, and Modric as well, all missed penalties. Kane didn't miss a penalty. He kept his nerve every time. Crucial moment against Tunisia, 90th minute, steps up again. How many times was he fouled this tournament? Ridiculous amount of times he was fouled.
He's been targeting big time.
The amount of times he gets the ball and he's surrounded by 3 or 4 players is countless. His hold-up play I thought was absolutely phenomenal for pretty much the whole tournament. He dropped deep and he was tasked with creating, which I thought he did a pretty decent job of as well. And I got to give him credit for just being a captain as well, leading the team as he did. I thought he was a very good leader. I thought this tournament he stepped up big time, and people give him a lot of question marks. Can he do it in a big international tournament? I think this is resounding evidence. It's a big yes.
I mean, yeah, he scored a lot of goals, but I don't know how to put it in words, but I think that him in a Tottenham team, he brings a lot more to a Tottenham team than he does to an England team. I think his all-round gameplay wasn't as it is like he is for Tottenham. I actually think he got quite lucky with a lot of his goals. How many penalties did he score?
Scored 3 penalties.
3 penalties, the deflected goal, that's 4 of his goals. You know what I mean? He scored 6.
Yeah, but he won like 3 of those. He hasn't won like 2 of those penalties.
No, I'm not saying he had a bad tournament, but I don't think he had as good a tournament as everyone's saying. I know he's winning the Golden Boot and everything, but I think he got a bit lucky this tournament.
I don't. I disagree with that completely.
Football's full of opinions, isn't it?
I agree with you. I agree there, but I disagree that he hasn't. I think he's done well with the tools he's given. He doesn't have a Christian Eriksen behind him.
He was starved of service.
Exactly. We failed big time to create. I know he missed a big chance yesterday. That was a big lot on his tournament, unfortunately, for Harry. But I thought he led the line fantastically. I thought he led the team really well. I thought he was, first line defense. He was one of those, defender from the front, and he got the goals in there as well. I'm going to give him a 9.
I'm going to give him an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think the big thing was that he had no service, literally no service.
That was a big issue for him, unfortunately.
Especially yesterday as well.
Pretty much get that chance against Croatia. What other chances from open play did he have?
Nothing.
Can't think of one. He had a shot at the edge of the area against Sweden. That one just wide. He had barely anything. Is that a fault of Kane or the creative or his service? Maybe you can lay the blame at both, but I'd say it's more the service than Kane.
I agree. Let's talk about Eric Dyer for a bit. What did you make out of him?
Didn't have his best tournament, I don't think. Obviously, he didn't start any game except for Belgium. But even in that game, he didn't play very well. I don't think
2 years ago at the Euros, he was one of our best players, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He played really well. But this, I think this tournament wasn't his best. He didn't show his best when he came on the pitch. I think, it's hard when you're a sub to show your best all the time when you're only getting a few minutes. But I feel like that in possession he wasn't that good when he came on the pitch. But I wouldn't be too harsh on him. But I just don't think he was great. I don't think he did himself any favours when he got on the pitch. He got the time.
Okay. Who was your player of the tournament for England?
Trippier.
Is there anyone else?
No.
Is there anyone else?
The man.
Kieran Trippier.
Triniesta.
What a man. What a man. Triniesta. All right. That was pretty sorted quickly. Moment of the tournament for England.
Has to be Dyer putting away that penalty.
It has to be.
Has to be. That is going to be. That is going to live for a long, long time in England fans' memories. What a moment! Winning that penalty shootout.
In World Cup history that we won a penalty shootout.
Well, first time World Cup history. First time since '96 we won any shootout whatsoever. And considering the luck we've had from shootouts since then, since 1990, it was a phenomenal moment for all England fans. Such relief, such incredible elation. And I was just going crazy at that moment. It was unbelievable. I lost my head.
If you haven't seen it, watch the vlog. This guy produces scenes.
It was just unbelievable. I lost my head. I lost everything when it died. I couldn't believe what
oh my god! Football's coming out.
What a moment! What a moment! That's gonna be a moment for a while to live. I still watch that and I get goosebumps when I watch that penalty shootout. What a moment, Dyer putting away. And, that penalty shootout was so much, especially for Spurs fans, to be proud of, because all the Spurs players stepped up big time in that shootout, putting their penalties in the corner, at the crucial moment when England really needed them, they all stepped up. And it was such an amazing moment.
And you know what? Everyone calls Spurs players bottle jobs and everything. Spurs players literally won the penalty shootout for England. And now, because England kind of bottled it yesterday, all these fans coming out of the woodworks, these Arsenal fans, these Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans. I don't even know why Liverpool fans are commenting, because they're not even in English anyway. They're Scouts, aren't they?
Yeah, apparently. You see that guy on Talk Sport calling up, and he was like, yeah, we've won 5 European Cups. What have you won? 1 World Cup. He was like, what is this? What are you like arguing against England, comparing England to Liverpool? He's like, what am I listening to? But anyway, Spurs play scoring every game, right? Except for Belgium.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Every game for England. You can't knock any. Spurs players made this World Cup for England, let alone anything else. It was all about the Spurs players pretty much. And you've got to give them big credit. And they all stepped up massively. Even I thought Danny Rose as well came on. I thought he did a pretty good job when he came on. I thought he played pretty well.
Yeah, yesterday he did do well.
And against Colombia.
This Kayvon is saying, what did Lingard contribute to this tournament? Well, first of all, he scored the best goal of the tournament.
Probably.
And I thought out of Sterling, Lingard, and Dele, I thought he was the best out of the 3.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it's at the end of the day, it's just so upsetting, because for the first time since I can remember, I think it's probably since 96, 98, the whole nation has been behind this team. It's made us proud to support this country.
I actually enjoyed watching England again.
Made us proud to be English once again. With all the madness going on with the politics and all that kind of stuff, everyone just brushed that to the side.
It was funny. It was the tournament with the least hope.
Yeah, the tournament. And no one thought we were going to get out of the groups. And we made this. Well, there was talk about it. And we made the semi-finals of the World Cup. First time since 1990. There's a lot to be proud of.
There's 2 ways of looking at it. We made the semi-finals and no one expected that, yeah. But is this a chance we'll never going to get again?
I don't know, because this team is a very young team, and I think they're only going to get better.
It's like you look to that Spurs season when we lost to Leicester.
Yeah.
People are saying that it's a chance we're never going to get again, and we have gone close since, but we actually haven't won it. So, is it true or is it not true in the sense that we still competed, so we haven't fallen away. So that's not true, but we still haven't won it. That is true. So there's kind of 2 ways of looking at it.
But the thing is, by the time the next World Cup comes along, all these players are going to be from young players into
More
peak
experience,
players. Surely by the time the next World Cup, they'll all be around like, what, 27, 28 years old. They'll be in their peak.
Yeah, Kane's going to be 28.
They're going to be in their literal physical peak. So I think we got a great chance next World Cup. I know it's in Qatar and the heat. It will be a bit of an issue.
Winter World Cup.
The Winter World Cup.
What about the Euros? That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think we got a great chance in the Euros. But when you look at it, the teams left in the World Cup were all from Europe. So it's going to be tough.
It will be very tough.
Because Belgium are going to be much stronger. France are going to be thereabouts. Who knows with Croatia? I know Croatia are quite an old team now, aren't they?
Yeah, I feel like this is Croatia's year in a way.
You called them out as the dark horse for the tournament before the tournament.
Yeah, I did. I said they were the one team.
You also said Argentina were going to win it.
Yeah, let's not mention that. Well, they got out of the group. That's the most important. I didn't want my tips to go out of the group, but Croatia, you got to give them credit. They have a fantastic team with some fantastic players. I do think on paper we are stronger. I still believe that. But I said before the game, I said we have the better players, but they have the better team. And I think that paid out in the game for sure. And unfortunately, it wasn't enough for England. We move on to the next tournament. I know it's 2 years away, but we've got to think of Spurs now. Spurs is back in 3 weeks. Absolutely buzzing for that. All the Spurs apart. Who knows when the Spurs players can be back? Are they all going to miss the season?
Alistair Gold said that potentially for the Girona friendly, which is on the 4th of August, which is just a couple of days before the start of the season.
Why are they starting it so early? Why not delay it?
They're mad. And if not for the Girona friendly, then potentially just before the first game of the season.
Doesn't bode well.
So that doesn't bode well. I'm not sure how many players in this World Cup Newcastle had, but it's definitely not as much as us.
We had the most. And, Spurs boys, the whole World Cup have been absolutely fantastic. Even like Lloris, Davinson Sanchez, Christian Eriksen, all of them pretty much can't fault them, except for maybe obviously Dele Alli.
But how Spursy is it that in the semi-final there were 9 Spurs players, in the final there's one?
Yeah, very Spursy. All that you've got to give. Also,
but was that game yesterday not just a carbon copy of that Juventus game, of that Man United game? It
really was.
How many times have we seen the same semi-final?
As Spurs fans, too many times. Getting your hopes up, going 1-0 up early, and then just running out of energy or losing, I don't know what it is, game management, just not seeing it out, not getting the job done. And
when are we going to learn?
I feel like we're talking about Spurs, we're talking about England, but it pretty much is. Yeah. I don't know.
I called it Tottenham and Friends.
Tottenham and Friends.
Or England Hotspur, wherever you want to look at it.
I don't know. It's just gutting it again. The same thing happened, kind of that we've seen with Spurs. Just couldn't see the job through. Again, we come out with credit, but not enough to go through.
Look, at the end of this tournament, you can hold your heads high just because. I think it's literally just because no one thought England could do anything this tournament, and we got to a semi-final. But when you actually look at it, first game against Tunisia, we had a great first half, but we struggled for the rest of the game. Struggled. What was the score that game?
2-1.
We just about beat them 2-1.
Yeah, last minute goal,
Exactly. The next game was against Panama. Pub team, smashed them 6-1. Belgium, probably the score of a tournament.
Januzaj.
Getting into the right half of the draw. The next game was Colombia, which I feel we have a much better team than Colombia. I know they've got some good players there, but I think man for man, we've got a much better team than them.
I agree with that.
We struggled big time against them.
I don't think we struggled. I think well,
it went to penalties.
I know it went to penalties, but we were for pretty much the whole 90 minutes we controlled the game.
Yeah,
I would say they got not a lucky goal. They got a goal. Literally,
we did control that game, but we struggled to create chances.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think we controlled the game. We were well worth our win in winning the game 1-0. But I think they got a goal right at the end, and then we did start to struggle when they got that goal right at the end. For a 15-minute period after extra time, we struggled. Other than that, I thought we were in control, and I thought we played pretty well that game.
But what I'm trying to say is that these teams that we've come up against are not your elite teams.
No, they're not.
And we kind of struggled to create or we kind of dominated most of those games, but we struggled to create, and that's a bit of a worry.
Didn't struggle to create in the next game, though.
What?
Against Sweden.
Sweden, yeah.
I know we're better than Sweden, but you can't write off Sweden as mugs because they gave every team they've played against a tough time, and a very good team.
Like I said, Sweden in the qualification, they knocked out Holland. In the playoffs, they knocked out Italy. And I think they topped the Germany group, didn't they?
Yeah, they knocked Germany out in a way in the group. And you got to give them big credit for that. And they defended well pretty much the whole tournament. You know, I think only conceded 2 goals against Germany prior to our game, and they hardly conceded that many chances. And we created chances pretty much at will against them. So you got to give us credit for that performance. But other than that, unfortunately, we did struggle to create chances. I thought against Croatia we created quite a few, but apart from that, we did struggle a bit. But what
a difference 24 hours ago makes. I know. This time 24 hours ago,
we were off our rocker. It was at 7 o'clock. It was we were going crazy.
Well, Trippier must have scored about this time.
Yeah, about that. Something like that.
We were absolutely buzzing. The whole country was buzzing. The beer was flowing. And it was such an exciting time to be English in these past few weeks.
Yeah.
So and it's just such a shame it's over. So sad. But at least now we can look forward to the season. Get that checkbook out, Daniel Levy. Sign some
players.
Hurry
up, mate. Hurry up. Time.
I don't know if you're going to want to watch it, but the vlog's going to be out later tonight. It's going to be funny and a bit sad watching. I won't hold it against you if you don't want to watch it, because it's very depressing, and I put off making it until now. So straight after we jump off this, I'm going to get on and make that. So check out later tonight for that vlog. Next week, we're going to start again with our Spurs weekly content. So like, share, subscribe if you like our content. And as always, come on England and Spurs. All of it. Come on England, come on Spurs. Let's do this.